Hey everyone, Tony here. Today I want to show you guys kind of a mess of Japanese cards and Japanese player cards. So let's get into it. I want to start off with a couple of the older ones I've gotten recently. Let's start off with this 1975 Kalbi. This is one of the striking pink border cards from 75 Kalbi. This is Katsuya Nomura, one of my favorite Japanese old-timers. So on this card, it is actually depicting him as a manager and catcher, as it says there on the front. This is when he was managing for the Hawks. Nomura is one of the more I would say underappreciated and unknown baseball players in history. He had 600 plus home runs and almost 3,000 hits as a catcher. And his kind of the sort of crux of his sort of entire career was that because he didn't play for the Giants, the Yomiuri Giants, he thought he didn't really get his due, and I agree. But he was basically a manager at this point in 75. So this is a great card. I try to pick up cards of his whenever I can. So really happy to add this one to the collection. Katsuya Nomura, if you don't know about this guy, look him up. And let's see here. So this one is probably the one I'm most excited about that I've gotten in recently. This is an Ichiro card. It's a food issue. And this, I don't know the precise year. I can't date the year. This Ichiro is from Tongari Corn, which is a kind of corn snack that's still around. That you can still get today. It's a crispy, kind of light corn snack in the shape of like cones. And actually, I really like Tongari corn. It's a snack that I get sometimes, but I haven't seen any baseball cards. But here's an Ichiro. I think this is, it has this little tab here. That's another thing. I guess probably this might have been some kind of lid or something that you pulled off the package. But yeah, I have never seen an Ichiro like this before I picked this up. And I haven't seen one since. Super rare. This says Tongare Ichiro, which is kind of a stupid pun of sorts. It's a play on Gambare Ichiro, which means, let's go Ichiro, do your best Ichiro. But Tongari means sort of tapered to a point. Anyway, I won't get into that. It's honestly a pretty lame pun. So, but here's the back, Tongari Corn. And this, it basically says like new release on the back, so. Anyway, let's move on. This is one that I pulled recently. I picked up a pack of the most recent NPB Bowman issue. So if you didn't know, they actually had a Bowman issue. And I was super excited to get this card. It's a color parallel. And this is of Takeya Nakamura. And Takeya Nakamura is probably a player you haven't heard of. He has played his entire career in Japanese baseball. He's a big slugger, and my favorite thing about him is my favorite sort of not substantial thing about him is his nickname. He's got one of the greatest nicknames in baseball history, which translated basically means second helping. So he's called like second helping or second serving because he's a big boy. And he hits home runs. He's a big slugger. And actually, Takeya Nakamura is a pretty significant player because he's actually, well, it's kind of a situation where he's so close but so far away. Takeya Nakamura actually has 460 plus home runs in the Japanese leagues. Well, I should say he has played his entire career for the Seibu Lions. But he's got about 460 home runs and change. So he is very much up there on the Japanese baseball home run list. And he has an outside shot at 500 home runs, which not a whole lot of players have achieved, partially because of the shorter season in Japan. It's shorter by about, 30 or so games. So Takeya Nakamura, he's he never played in the major leagues, but he's very high up on this prestigious list, right? And he's nearing very rarefied air in Japanese baseball. But I think one, sort of significant thing about him is that basically these kinds of records, it's going to be rarer and rarer for Japanese players to reach these kinds of records. And I think the reason for that is that the taboo, well, basically there were some taboos, right, about going to the major leagues or wanting to stay in Japan out of, loyalty to your team or your country or things like that. But more and more players now, I think, like, for example, Munetaka Murakami, the Swallows' big slugger, he's going to come to the major leagues in a couple of years, right? So he'll never approach 500 home runs in Japanese baseball. And I think, like, a lot of these records, they're just going to become more and more rare. So players like Takeya Nakamura, where he's nearing 500 home runs in Japanese baseball, like, it's kind of a big deal, right? So anyway, here's another card of his that I've had for a while. This is a Colby title holder card. The gold facsimile signature parallel. I pulled this probably back in 2019. These come in bags of chips, or I should say on a little foil pack attached to bags of chips. Let's see here. Speaking of Colby cards, I also got this 99 Colby of Kenji Jojima. So this is pretty cool. Kenji Jojima, one of the first after Ichiro position players to come to the major leagues. As far as I'm aware, he is still the only Japanese catcher to ply his trade in the major leagues. So Kenji Jojima, pretty significant. I gotta laugh at that tall hat. He looks like a train conductor. Anyway, so there's that. How about a little Daisuke? Right, so here's a Colby Daisuke Matsuzaka from 2000. And Daisuke, man, I feel like Daisuke gets a bad deal. He gets a bad rep. Daisuke is I feel like he's always one of those guys where people always say, well, these Japanese players are always hyped and they never amount to anything, right? Like, and then they always, like, sort of spit out Daisuke's name as a player who is super, super hyped. And yeah, Daisuke was super, super hyped, and he didn't have, like, a spectacular major league career. But you guys got to remember, like, Daisuke, man, his first couple of years with the Red Sox were great. And then he got injured. I think he had hip injuries or something, and he kind of just wasn't the same after that. So I feel like Daisuke kind of gets a little bit of a too much of a negative rep. But hey, it is what it is. He, compared to the hype, he didn't pan out to what people expected. But I've got a couple of these. These I found in my binder. Kind of forgot about them. Here's a cool Masahiro Tanaka silver signature parallel from 2022 BBM. Tanaka, he's back in Japanese baseball. He's still pitching for the Eagles. And this one is cool because, you know, obviously he's been making a splash. Masataka Yoshida, I must have pulled this myself back before he even came to the major leagues, but this is from last year, Silver Signature. And I didn't even like realize I had this card, right? I just kind of pulled it. So pretty cool, Yoshida. Do you think Yoshida will be an all-star selection? I think it's possible. I know that the Japanese have a habit of a history of sort of ballot stuffing the ballot box. I know that Kosuke Fukudome got an all-star nod, I think his first season in the majors when he probably didn't deserve it. But Yoshida is playing very well, so. Anyway, here is a cool star card I got of Koji Chikamoto, one of my favorite Japanese players that's currently playing. Chikamoto is a speedy center fielder. He's a little guy, but he's super fast. And he's just one of my favorite. You know, he's not gonna like light it up, you know, in the batter's box or anything. But he's mainly a defense guy. But he's a speedy little center fielder, and he's one of my favorite current Japanese players for the Hanshin Tigers. So this is a gold facsimile signature parallel from last year's Calbi. Koji Chikamoto. And then, let's see here. This is one that I pulled myself. I got a blaster of Select from last year because they were on sale. And I got Yusei Kikuchi. I got a prism, I guess you could say, a refractor of Yusei Kikuchi. Having a pretty solid season with the Blue Jays. Nothing to write home about. You know, he hasn't really turned heads in the major leagues. But Yusei Kikuchi, who went to the same high school as Shohei Ohtani. And in fact, Yusei Kikuchi is actually what what the Japanese would refer to as Ohtani's senpai, which is his kind of a senior. It doesn't really translate, but he's a upperclassman, basically, compared to Ohtani. So he's actually older than Ohtani. And let's see here. I pulled this too. This is from the recently released 2023 Topps NPB. And this is a cool rainbow foil of Shota Imanaga, a pitcher for the Yokohama Bay Stars. And Shota Imanaga, I don't recall. I think he pitched for Samurai Japan last time out, but he has in the past, I know. So, Shota Imanaga, pretty cool one. I also got the 2023 Roki Sasaki, and this is just an awesome looking card. This is from the recent 2023 Topps MPB. And man, I love this card. Roki, man, he's got that huge leg kick like Nolan Ryan. Really brings his leg up like that. Pretty awesome. It, at the very least, makes for some cool cards. Check out his 2020 Calbi rookie card if you want an awesome image of Sasaki with that big Nolan Ryan leg kick. And then this one I also pulled. This is a select rookie of Lars Nootbaar. And of course, this is significant because Lars Nootbaar, whose mother is Japanese, became a WBC hero in Japan. And Lars Nootbaar is big in Japan, man. You know that old saying, like, big in Japan. Lars Nootbaar, you could sell Lars Nootbaar cards here in Japan for, like, more than you could in the United States, for sure. Just because he's a WBC hero. And the, like, pepper grinder celebration became, like, a big thing. You even had, like, high school kids doing it and stuff. So, Lars Nootbaar, it was fun to pull this, just because it's significant, especially here. I got this cool Topps Chrome Hiroya Miyagi, and he's a pitcher for the defending Japan Series champion Oryx Buffaloes, who, I don't know why I said that, but yeah, defending champion Oryx Buffaloes, Japan Series champ. Oh, right, who won? He actually won the Pacific League Rookie of the Year last year. So this is one I pulled myself. I got a couple packs of the 2022 Topps MPB Chrome. So Hiroya Miyagi. And then I also... Oh, man, I actually had pretty decent luck. I also pulled from that... I don't know if it was the same pack. I think I got two. But I got the base refractor of Kodai Senga. So that was pretty awesome. Now, Kodai Senga right here, pictured in his last season for the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks. Of course, it was quite a saga with Senga. Senga made it known almost halfway through, several years ago, his Hawks career, that he wanted to go to the major leagues, and he wanted to be posted. Now, his team, the Hawks, have a strict policy where they do not post players. So it's kind of their policy that they just don't do it. As far as I'm aware, they're the only team, I think, who has never posted a player to the majors. And they don't explicitly say why they don't do this. But hey, it is what it is. Of course, Senga's pitching pretty well this year. I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of like, I guess it is what it is. They're not under any obligation to send their players to the major leagues and things like that, right? I don't think personally, right? Like, I don't believe that NPB, right, that Japanese baseball should exist to be a feeder league into the major leagues, right? Like, I don't believe that. But, at the same time, I think the Hawks' stubbornness is a little irritating, especially since they did not really provide Senga with specific reasons why they would not post him. And in fact, posting can be a pretty big sort of financial windfall for a Japanese team. The Fighters, the Nippon Ham Fighters, Shohei Ohtani and Yu Darvish's team is a very good example of this. The Fighters basically, while I'm rambling, I'll show some more cards. Here's a Masataka Yoshida star card. But the Fighters basically, what they did was they essentially, partly because of the money they got from posting Darvish and Ohtani to major league teams, which at the time of the deal is tens of millions of dollars. And then presumably they invested this money and got even more money. And the Nippon Ham Fighters built a glitzy new ballpark, partially with the funds they got from posting players. So, hey, that's one benefit. But like I said, the Hawks, they have every right not to do that. But and this is Noriaoki, one of my favorite Japanese players for the Swallows, played for the Brewers, leadoff hitter, got this 2018 star card. And then I also got this pretty cool aqua refractor of Noriaoki, and this is numbered to 199. Let's take this out of the bag. So I've been having, this video is getting kind of long, I'll try to end it soon. I've been having some computer problems, and my computer is old. I ordered a new one, but it's been shutting down, and so I don't know how much time I have left. Last card I'll show you guys from the current BBM issue, first version. This is 2023, Roki Sasaki. This is the sort of mild, I don't know, hollow parallel, so Pretty cool card there. So, anyway, guys, as always, thanks for watching. Peace. See you next time.